Hey guys, this is Lovin Meets with Sahil and Siley from Decisive Zone.
Hi, I'm Siley.
Hi, I'm Sahil.
And today we spoke about Golden Visa for teachers in UAE.
Stay tuned to find out more.
We'd really love if you could subscribe to the Lovin Meets podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today we're joined by Sahil and Siley from Decisive Zone once again to discuss Dubai's new initiative offering golden visas to outstanding educators in the UAE. So if you're an educator and you want to get your hands on a golden visa, stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us back. We're happy to be here again.
As always, Tuesday mornings, let's dive right in. I heard the news. I was excited as a former teacher, but who is actually eligible for the Dubai Golden Visa for teachers?
Okay, so when we look at this particular category, it's not as simplified as it sounds. So when you talk about teachers, there are different categories in it. It starts from early childhood school, like early childhood centers, to the universities and higher secondaries and schools and everything. Mm-hmm. So each and every section that we look at, there are certain categories that would be qualified. So when we look at early childhood centers, it's only the managers who would be qualified. When we look at high schools, it would be principals, and it goes on like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a grade 1 teacher, which I think it's not, does that count as early? Or does that count as high school?
No, early childhood would be like
kindergarten.
Kindergarten, yeah.
Okay, so then for the middle school.
Mm-hmm. So then we have primary, which is the first to grade 1 to grade 5, I think. I don't have any kids, so correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think grade 1 to grade 5 is primary, and then grade 6 till about 10 is about the secondary, and then after the high school, right?
So for the primary middle grade, what kind of level of teachers are eligible to apply for this?
So it would be academic heads, principals. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what are the main qualifications required? If, for example, I am an academic head or a school principal, what qualifications do I need, or has that been defined yet?
Okay, so when we look at the qualifications, it is basically they should be having a PhD degree, like degree would be there, PhD should be done. They should have a master's degree as well, and they should be having enough research done already, like before applying for it.
Very interesting, because when the news dropped, like I said, as a former teacher, was hands up thinking I'm going to get my hands on a golden visa, but it's not as simple. And we also heard through research that there is a role of the Dubai Schools Inspection Bureau.
Yeah.
Can you kind of clarify what that would be?
So when we're talking about, notable years that have been put into the teaching sort of sector, right? Like, let's say you're a former teacher. Let's say if you spent, around 10 years teaching and being, an educator of young minds, and you want to go ahead and apply for this golden visa, you would probably need to be certified by the Inspection Bureau and the KHDA to actually give you the go-ahead, because that would be an independent body to kind of, keep all the applicants on a similar playing field, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to prove my academic performance, is there anything that I can do if I want to put my name forward?
Yes. So in the first place, it would be a school who would be nominating you. Only after the school is nominating, then the other procedure begins.
And then, so is there any evidence that I would put forward to my school, or is there anything that they would need to see? Maybe grades, maybe a kindly written note from a parent?
a good response on a PTA?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, no, it would work along the lines of, so if to put your sort of, name in the hat, as they would say. First thing is obviously how many years you've put into education and into the sector and into maybe the institution itself. That would be one. Second thing would probably be, like you mentioned, grades, right? So if you've got a consistency maintained across, let's say, the 10 years that you've been teaching, and then your grades for your students have always been at a certain level, that would also sort of, put you ahead of the line a little bit. Apart from that, I mean, favoritism always plays a part. No, it doesn't. But I think those two, along with the academic, qualifications. So if you have like a master's degree in teaching, PhD is better. Then you have research done, etc. So these kind of things all sort of play a part into putting your application forward, and then your school sort of going along with that.
And do you think community contributions would make a difference? For example, my kids are only getting B's and C's, but yet I'm there on a Saturday and Sunday. I'm doing the extras. I'm helping people of determination, for example. Do you think those additional hours would make a difference?
Absolutely, because there's things like school councils, school boards, where teachers have played an important part in not just academic growth of an individual, but also social, cultural aspect of things as well. So if you are an educator and you are putting in those extra hours, then yeah, your effort is definitely being valued, and I think this sort of an initiative shows that.
And then on the admin side, which kind of is where Decisive Zone comes into play, what are there specific documents that you're looking for? I know we mentioned the qualifications on the education side, but is there anything else specifically that you would look for?
See, when we look at the documentation for Golden Visa, it's like pretty similar for each and every category, your passport copy, your Emirates ID, and basic documents like that. But when it comes to certain categories, like this Golden Visa, which is for teachers, then all the qualificational documents would be needed. Apart from that, the recognition that the school would be giving, your researches that you would have done, the thesis and everything has to be put into one together like folder, and we need to process it after that only.
It's great that it was announced, I think, 3 or 4 days ago, and we already have this information. Do we have any idea, is this going to be available long term, or is there kind of a bracket now that I need to jump in and get my application in?
I mean, to be honest, take it while it's here, because the thing is that just to be super frank, like, because it's still, it's just recently announced, right? So it is obviously, they are a bit, defining the rules as you would say. So if you do have the opportunity now to, perhaps apply for this visa, go ahead and take it, because obviously long term it is 10 years, you know what I mean? So it is long term in that sense, but take it while it's hot. Yeah.
Interesting. Do we know about the cost of it versus it might be in a school's benefit that a couple of their teachers has the golden visa across 10 years. Do we have an idea of the cost?
I mean, that's one thing that we're still waiting on, because like you mentioned, it's only been 2 or 3 days, in fact, that the news has been released. So in terms of costing, we're looking at somewhere between between the cost for you to get a golden visa with a real estate investment versus being a senior employee in a company, or along those lines. So we're looking at somewhere along those. It won't be more than that number. Yeah.
Okay, and with the applications that get submitted, do we know who is vetting these, who's looking at these to decide and to determine who can actually get their golden visa?
So with the golden visa in the UAE, there's obviously one central body that does the final sort of go ahead. So after the independent bodies, like let's say real estate, right? You have the DLD who's checking your paperwork, title deed, etc. Okay. Once the DLD puts your application forward, then it goes straight into the actual inspection committee of the golden visa itself with the ICP, which is the immigration. So once the DLD sees the paperwork, they're like, okay, this person's good, the title deed's okay, etc., etc. Send it to the central bureau, and that's when they sign it off, and that's when you get the golden visa. Similarly, if you're an employee with a certain salary bracket, etc. So that in that case, you're applying straight to the ICP, because you're going to go through the labor courts and then go straight to the ICP. So with this, it's going to be like the Education Bureau, the KHDA, etc. Your application is going to go probably going to go through that route, because obviously that's the governing body amongst different emirates in the UAE. So everyone applies to their subjective, knowledge and development authorities, and then from that it all goes into a central inspection committee, and that's when they sign it off. Yeah.
Interesting. When that day comes, how exciting that would be.
Oh yeah.
And you mentioned 10 years. So is this golden visa, and generally our golden visas, do they all typically have the same conditions for renewal, the same period span, or is there differences? Is there any difference between this golden visa and a golden visa for real estate, for example?
Not really. I mean, they're all valid for 10 years. The renewal process is fairly the same. So, I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen many golden visas get renewed because no one's spent the 10 years already. Right. So, you know what I mean? But on paper, pretty much the same.
Okay.
It's just how you get there. Yeah.
So then, therefore, it would be the same for sponsoring families.
Yep.
It works in the very same way, which means if I'm a teacher, therefore, my spouse, kids, mum and dad.
That's right. Immediate
exactly.
family.
Immediate family.
Yeah.
And how about the parents of my spouse?
Depends on your relationship with them, but
depends what you want to tell them.
Yeah, but yeah, it is allowed, I believe. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you have as many questions as I do about this process, Decisive Zone are the people to speak to. How can people get in touch if they'd like to?
Google us, Instagram. We're always live. We're here every Tuesday. So any questions, any doubts, any comments, you can always leave it in the live chat. And yeah, we'll see you next week, and we can probably answer them.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
On this Tuesday
Happy to be
morning.
here.
Thank you.
Guys, that is Decisive Zone, talking all things teachers, golden visas in the UAE, and brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye.